United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father which art in heaven, dear Lord God, it's once again that we humbly come before your throne of grace to give your name the glory, the honor, and the praise for all of your many blessings bestowed upon the citizens of Dillon. Dear Lord God, we ask that you continuously bless our Mayor Pro Tem, our City Council, our City Manager, our City Attorney, and department heads on tonight as we gather together to make the decisions for the betterment of all the citizens of Dillon. And we pray that in everything we do, we pray we be careful to give your name the glory, your name the honor, and your name the praise. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, can I get approval of the agenda?
We got to add that addition.
With the addition of property purchase under new business.
Now we've got one property purchase. This would be a different one.
Second.
For sewer grant, where we're relocating a lift station on 18th and Darby Street through a CDBG grant. We've got to purchase some property for that to be owned.
Okay. Can I get a motion with the addition?
I'd like to also make an amendment to the agenda too, Dr. Watson. One of my members of my board has had to resign, and I would like to add to the planning commission. Can we go ahead and add it now? Appointee, Glenn?
We do that in your report, Councilman.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. We've got approval of the minutes for council workshop of May 9th, regular council meeting May 9th, budget workshop May 23rd, budget workshop May 26th. Can I get a motion?
Make the motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? I'm going to make mine short. We have got a ton of stuff to go over tonight. We've been very active in putting together a budget, and it's a challenging year to have to form a budget when we're facing 8–10% inflation when we're used to doing it to 2–2.5%. We have been very fortunate, and we're going to hear our audit. We've been very fortunate to have good budget exchange in the past, such that we've actually had some money left over at the end of the budget year in years past. That being said, in water and sewage, we need to continue to accumulate, as we're gonna need to go across I-95 and probably build a sewage treatment plant there. In our general fund budget, we obviously have a tremendous amount of storm drainage issues that we have to have some matching funds if we get grants. So, you know, don't get overwhelmed when we're told that we have this money. We are in need of growing those funds so that we'll be ready to tackle some of the issues that we have. That being said, I don't know of much more. Let me tell you, COVID report. COVID is hot as it can be in Dillon County. It's just as hot as it can be. And you look at the numbers, there are not many of them there. The present administration said they were going to get rid of it, and they have. We don't have to report it anymore. so that's why the case looks like it's down, but it is everywhere. But the good thing about it is we have antivirals now. I had it 5 weeks ago, and I ate for about 12 hours, took those antivirals, and in 2 hours I was much better. I've had my vaccine, I've been boosted, but I had a staycation and it was awesome. Anyway, COVID's still out there, but and see your doctor for it, because they can give you some medication that'll make it short-lived, and you're still at risk of spreading it to maybe somebody who's not been vaccinated, who might be immunocompromised. And those people still are not doing well, even with the Omicron variant. With that, I'm done. Glenn?
If I could, if approval with council, instead of doing my report this time, let Smith Brooks present the audit. So he
Yes.
can leave as soon as he can.
Thank you, Glenn. Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Everybody should have gotten a package included in their envelopes. This is June 30, 2021. It's the same opinion you've had for many years. I still haven't put my finger on how many years that's been, but it's a clean opinion, unqualified clean opinion, which means clean. That's a good thing. There's also an internal control report in here, same as prior years. There's two findings that are mentioned. Those are also the same, segregation of duties and our preparation of the financial statements. I'm going to hit some highlights in the balance sheet general fund on page 17. The cash and investments were up about 1.2 million. Your total assets increased a little over $1 million. Those are very good, strong numbers, as Dr. Wallace just referred to. This left your fund balance at June 30, 21 at $3.5 million, which was 207 days of your FY21 budget. So that's also improved compared to 150 the prior year. Page 19 and 20, which is your income statement for the general fund. Overall, it showed a excess revenues over expenditures of $967,000. To get into some more budgetary numbers or comparisons, that is on page 52. If you want to refer there to see where how that occurred. It's spread throughout. I mean, your revenues were up, your expenses, some of your expenses were under budget. There's not one particular item that you can put your finger on to say it was right here. I'm going to jump over to the water and sewer, page 22. Cash and investments increased about $175,000. Total assets decreased about $266 due to receivables and due froms and fixed assets changes in those. Your liabilities were down about $100,000. Revenues and expenses on page 23. Revenues increased about $119,000, and your operating expenses decreased about $100,000. Your net loss from operations, ignoring the grant monies that came in during the year, we're required to report them this way, but there's no direct effect, no direct expense effect.
There's an expense and there's a
Depreciation, but it's over a period of time. It's not in this current fiscal year. So your net loss from operations, ignoring grant contributions, was $314,000 for this time frame. Your debt, governmental general long-term debt decreased about $218,000, and your water and sewer bonds also decreased by $56,000. Those are my very quick highlights. I know we've got a lot going on. Anybody got any questions that I can attempt to answer? I'd be glad to try and do that.
So your end numbers for June 30th of 21, we had I call it a surplus. What was the surplus again?
General fund was $967,000.
$967,000.
Any other questions? Thanks, Smith.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Glenn?
Well, before Smith leaves,
Yes.
I want to bring up, we've been talking about retirement health insurance, and Smith and I have had this conversation for many years. And we've had this conversation, and we did an actuary, I had a group come in and do an actuary about a month or two ago, and we got that report back, I presented it to the council, and it would tell us how much money we would have to put aside each year to fund a retirement insurance policy if the city was going to subsidize some of that. Talking with Smith last week, I asked him, if we didn't fund it, how did it affect our audit each year? It would be pay as you go as you had people retiring and doing our policy. So can you answer that question? How it would affect our budget if we didn't fund it?
It just that, it's pay as you go. What would the cost be for that current period? There would be a true-up, I call it, to where it would be reflected on the government-wide statements, but not the fund statements. The fund, you don't have to record the liability, but the government-wide statements you do. Just like the pension liabilities at the state level now that we have to do, that are buried in there, and it's a $6-7 million number on the city's books. Now, I don't know what the OPEB would cost you, or what that liability, not the cost, would be, but that's really the only effect, and I can't tell you how that would play as far as borrowing would be the only potential conflict or problem you might have. And I think the bankers are, I hate to speak for them, but I think they are ignoring those numbers and just, can you afford it kind of situation. Because I think you said there was only
right now it would only be 2, and 1 would come off in this coming year as well.
What's the cost for 1 per month or per year? And then, that's all you can do.
Right now, we're looking at the whole premium would be a little over $500 a month, so $6,000 a year. $12,000 for two. And if that's the whole premium. If the city paid a portion and the employee paid a portion, and I'll use an example as we do right now. If you're active, they pay $100, we pay $400 or something from the city standpoint. At that point now you're talking $2,400 that's going to cost the 2 employees, but it would cost the city what, $800 a month times 12. The key is, again, is that something we want to do? We've got to come up with what kind of policy do we want to have in place to do it, and those kind of things. So there's this. I've had discussions with some that say maybe they pay 50% of the cost and not pay what an active employee pays. That would be fine as well, I guess, but we just need to. Coming down the pipe, you're going to have a handful of people that would.
But the goal of the benefit is to retain long-term employees.
It is. It is. And the scenario that I gave when they did the actuary was, first and foremost, and this is excluding police, but everyone else had to be at least 60 years old and being employed with the city for 30 consecutive years or more. And that draws that number down. The 30 years may be too long. I don't know. I just think that someone that's been with the city for 30 years
wants to go to the house until they're 65, now get a little something so they can.
But again, that's being at the age of 60 and doing this. On the other side, the police, I think the scenario was age 50 and 28 years. That would cost the city longer if someone met those requirements until they were 65. You would carry them for 15 years, but how many's still going to do it? Nobody knows on that. But if it's something we want to do, I just need direction of what kind of policy you want. I don't want what I've kind of gave in the scenario with the actuaries. We can do that, or we can do something different. But
Can you crunch the numbers and have something for us next time when you come back and see?
Yeah.
Or we just
Yeah.
throwing numbers
I
out
mean,
right now?
You know, again, right now, if we do, based on the scenarios I gave, I pretty much have that,
Yeah,
you know,
you've got
mapped out.
your reward, you've got your reward number,
Yeah.
but we don't have that number for the person that might be 5 years in and we want to retain them for another 20 years or 25 years.
And then, that, you know, that policy can change, you know, how you see fit, but
We have a retirement,
state retirement.
state retirement.
We as employees pay in 9% of our pay.
In the city back,
You see, the city pays 16 to 17% of that also.
Monthly on the gross.
The actuary thing that you look at, does every active employee now, would they pay into that system so it could be used later on when they retire?
You talking about retirement?
How much money each month will come out of their check to go to fund that?
For which one? Health insurance?
Yes.
We don't do anything right now for health
So I
insurance.
said that we did.
Well, you could do it that way. They pay a percentage, but what if, and again, what if somebody stays here 20 years or 15 years? Do we give them that money back, or is it just like anything else? Stays in
Well,
the
like Dr.
pot?
Wallace was saying, it's an incentive to stay.
Yeah, it is.
But it's also penalized the employee too.
Yeah.
If they leave,
Yeah.
only if they leave. But
Yeah.
that's true if you even work for the state or you work for any
If you could.
Not
government
necessarily, if
agency.
you work
No,
for the
you-
state, you get what you
you
pay.
could
Yeah,
get
the state, they can go to another
Yeah.
entity that's contributing or
Or they-
participating in the state
if
retirement.
they-
They pick right up where they were.
Or if they want to just get out and go work in another profession that doesn't under state retirement, they can draw their money out or keep it there and draw it at another time.
They just don't get to take the money that the employer puts in.
That's correct, only what they put in. That is correct. That is correct. But I'll bring something back,
I think we're kicking it down the
yeah,
bucket down the road.
And then-
Because I don't think any of us, you included, have a total grasp of what it offers and what it costs.
well,
I know I don't.
Well, I know what it would cost the city
For two.
for two, and then, I mean, and then for each one thereafter. And that
And if we
number,
do it for the two, we
Yeah.
set precedents, then
Yeah.
we're gonna have to continue on, so.
but that number also is gonna change annually, just as,
It changes every year because somebody's gonna go on and come off.
Yeah.
well, not just that, the rates will change.
Right.
You know, this year, coming in July, our health insurance rates are increasing, so I mean, you'll always have that. But I can bring back the next time, here's what we have.
It's a liability that
Yeah.
if we're gonna do it, then, I mean, I think it's a great thing.
Mhm. But I guess my point, I wanted,
Yeah, we need to think out what we're obligating
yes,
our 15-year plan people here.
but I was, you wanted Smith to input just to know that, you know, years ago, when we used to have a policy, and this is what it was, this is what you had to do, and you got this, this, and this, and then with the GASB, whatever that number was, in 06 or 07, you know, we got out of, because we were under the impression we had to fund it 100% of that money. You know, if it was cost you $100,000 a year to fund that program, and we knew we couldn't do it. But, you know, now I understand, and I think Smith just said, he doesn't believe, and I don't believe, if we don't fund it, not pay as you go, but fund the program, it's not gonna hurt us from a borrowing standpoint. I mean,
I can't speak
Yeah.
for bankers, but that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
so that's, I'll bring that back at our next one. Thank you, Smith.
Thanks, Smith.
Thank y'all.
With that, Jamie just whispered in my ear when Smith was doing the budget, we purchased fuel today, gas. It cost us $4.42 a gallon. And we usually buy about 8,000 gallons.
Or more. This costs about 37,000, and it could be a little bit more if we get more gallons, or the
But-
rates change.
Yeah, that's correct. But we do this every 2.5 months, so I mean, it's not a monthly thing, but about 2.5 months. That's what our cost was today. So we haven't bought diesel yet, so we don't know what that cost is, but just wanted to let you know that. Last month I mentioned, and also mentioned in my letter, we're one person short on the city election commission. I was wondering, or asking if You bring back nominations. I don't know if anybody's got any nominations to fill that vacancy on the election commission. Right now you have Ms. Valerie Graves and Shannon Berry that serves on that, and we have one vacancy. So can we think about that some more, maybe next time? We can bring that on. That's all I have at this point.
All right. Janet?
Okay, the general fund, in our cash accounts, that's unrestricted, we have $1,832,787. Restricted, $333,749, a total of $2,166,536. Our revenues, we got more, $414,630 more than 21, but that's due to, I'm waiting on funds to come in now, so hopefully by the end of June I'll have what comes in to offset that for 22. Our expenses are $280,410 more in 22 than in 21. I'll go back and look at a lot of different things there, but I know we had repairs and stuff like that, but I'll go back and check that again.
We talked earlier, we were at like 12,000 above in January, and now we're at 280, so we gotta
So I'll go back and
figure out what that is.
look over that and let you know on that.
I don't know if any of y'all looked through it and found it.
Water and sewer, we have a total of unrestricted, $1,996,421. We have a total restricted of $2,298,996. Total of all accounts, $4,295,417. In our revenues, we brought in $376,983 more in 22 than we have in 21 at this time last year. Our expenses were $38,920 more in 22 than in 21.
The only caveat I have to that is that, in our new budget, I don't think we budgeted for any increase in water and sewer.
No, we do not.
So, those revenue differences are, with a 10%, they're not going to be as good as they were in the past year. So, and I'm not opposed to what we're doing with that budget, since we did make some changes in the general fund, but we're just not going to see that difference in 2022.
And something I'd like to bring up on, when I do our cash accounts and talk about them, that includes everything that we operate for the city of Dillon, in general fund and water and sewer. So it's a total of them all. It's not just, we got all this money sitting out there. It's our operations money as well. So I just want y'all, to know that. Golf course, our cash account, $16,298. We brought in $17,375 more in 22 than we did in 21. We spent $60,095 more in 21 than we have in 22, and that's due to the pumps and stuff that we have. Our 2% hospitality fund, we got $1,068,104 in there. We brought in $44,051 more in 22 than we did in 21.
So we got one more month, so we may get the 50,000 difference.
Okay, and our stormwater, of course, we got $162,504, and that's due to the money that general fund loaned stormwater that we're working on getting back. We brought in $354 more in 21 than we did in 22. And we spent $30,551 more in 22 than we did in 21. American Rescue money, we've got $1,213,119 in the account. We have spent to date $360,096, and our interest is $2,689. Okay.
Now, with the hospitality, How much money do you think you'll have to take out of the hospitality and transfer it back to the general
I've
fund?
already done it for this past year, last year, not when we're in, 135,000.
Okay, so that's a true balance of $1 million, 68,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did you pay the insurance sooner this year than you had?
Because I paid insurance sooner.
Yeah. I was just looking at the differences in that $280,000 loss you mentioned. Well, like insurance, one area was like $7,000.
Which one?
Which department you talking about?
Well, one was between city attorney and every aspect was insurance. And I was
Yes.
just- Yeah,
Yes, because
so
then.
you might have paid it earlier.
No, we split it out and put some in general fund and some in water and sewer, but compared to prior, they weren't on the insurance.
Now, the nuts, bolts, hand tools, and such as that goes along with repair work.
Yes,
Because
yes,
those are all in excess of 200%.
yes.
So that's a lot because they're not, just like you said, repair.
So going back to the hospitality one more time, we don't have any more expenses out of the hospitality?
Now, let me rephrase that. When you asked me that, I just now transferred those funds
Okay.
out in June. So this is a May report.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I've got to take 135. I'll come off of that.
So we got 900-something thousand dollars.
You're right.
And we don't have any more payments to make out of that money to take off that balance
Not between now and the end of
till
June.
February.
Not between now and the end of June.
What's coming out the end of
Well, I'm just asking our end year ends.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but we don't have any more payments, going forward for another 6 to 8
Well,
months.
you've got, no, we taking that out of ARPA money.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the splash pad, that's coming out of ARPA.
Am I right in what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
And you figure on an average, you get about 60 to 65,000 in revenue.
Right. Okay.
That it? Thank you, Ken. All right, Lisa? Downtown coordinator.
Hey,
She's busy.
I'm busy, that's what everybody's saying today. Since our last meeting, I am proud to announce that we've got the Juice has opened on May 28th and has had a successful opening. Her business is booming, so if you've not stopped by there to visit her, or Toya, please stop by Monday through Friday from, I believe, 8 until 6. So well wishes to her, and I'm glad that she's joined us. Our upcoming events, the Legacy Motown Review will be coming back to the Dillon County Theater on June 18th. Destination Downtown Dillon Lowdown will be the June 24th, and our topic for this month, the challenges of revitalization and how to overcome them. We do have some special guests this time. Jenny Bolvaire, she's the director of Main Street, South Carolina, will be driving up to join us. Alyssa Lee Richardson, which is a local here of ours, she's the state director and deputy chief of staff for Senator Tim Scott, will be with us. And Scott Mays from the Florence Area Small Business Development Center, and a gentleman that might be moving back to the area to open up a business is going to join us also to kind of share with us how he feels the process is going with opening up a new business in the city of Dillon. So that happens June 24th. If anybody wants to tune into that, they can do it on the Hometown Digital TV at 12:30 or the City of Dillon Facebook page.
And that's your podcast.
That's my podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. First Friday will be July 1st, and then we're also going to have another one on July 22nd because June's is canceled out due to the weather. Fitness at the Fountain is taking off pretty well. People can come out for a 30-minute workout on July 2nd. Farmers Market, which is going on right now, will also happen on July 11th, and Eats on the Streets will be back on July 13th. We had a very successful event last week. It was awesome. We rocked it. We had 9 food trucks, and people ate from 11:15 in the morning when it started getting crazy all the way until about 5. Food vendors did start to run out of food a little bit because there were a lot of people eating that day. They've assured me that it won't happen again, and the weather did kind of put a damper on the end of it, but it was overall, I think, a very successful event, and I look forward to doing that one all the way through November. Buy a Brick campaign is a project that we've done in the past, but we are doing it again through July 1st. I've got about 10 bricks lined up, and people can always contact me directly in my office or get a hold of Tina and they can direct them towards me. in the city manager's office to buy a brick, to have something engraved around the fountain is kind of where we're doing it right now, but it is a month-long campaign to get at least, we'd like to have about 25 by July if we could. Grants,
How much are they?
I'm sorry,
How much are they?
they're $85 for one brick, 3 lines of text, or is 2 bricks for $100. So if anybody's interested, just please let me know and I'll get the application to you. I am proud to announce that the Duke Energy Foundation Emergency Preparedness Storm Resiliency two-way radio and drone program was awarded $20,000. So, I know, it's my first one. Sorry. Fire department will get $10,000 for their drone program, and then the police department will get $10,000 to buy 14 new radios for their department. I just checked today, and we are currently under review for the South Carolina Department of Public Safety Project Safe Neighborhood Gun and Gang Crime Investigation Suppression Program. We requested $160,000. We should be that should be announced in September or October. There is not a match for that, and that is for an officer, a K-9, and a new vehicle as well, training and all their equipment. The 2022 COPS Community-Oriented Policing Services Hiring Program, it covers up to about 75%. We're asking for $125,000. Actually, that's the portion that we've received, and our match will be about $55,000. That will be announced sometime in September. So right now, I'm kind of focusing obviously on the police department. And then I will be beginning the South Carolina Energy Office Mini Grant Program, hoping to get a. Kind of excited about this one too. A level 2 electric vehicle charging station somewhere downtown. I know we got one in south of the border, but we have one down here also. If you are a charging station, you are put on websites as a destination to be able to charge your vehicle, so it would be just another way to bring somebody else downtown. So I'm working on that one. It's a $10,000 grant. There's not a match to it, but is $10,000 is the max. And then the USD Community Facilities Grant, which will be the equipment for the police department. I'm working on that currently. Council, I would like to apologize that the mural information requested, just due to an illness from Tommy Simpson's mother, he was unable to get the information to me. I did meet with one of the artists though, and we are looking at $7,800 to $10,000 for a Dillon worded mural back behind the buffet lot, whenever we do the farmers market area. So I will have more information for you at the next council meeting regarding visuals and complete pricing.
How about the CDBG grant we had
Oh,
last week?
we met with Kim with PD COG, and I'll be working closely with a number of different departments on putting together, I guess you would call it a rendition of what the buffet lot will look like as far as fencing, lighting, landscaping, stages, the structure for the farmers market itself, electrical, concrete, trying to get some sort of a cost estimate together for him so she can move forward with the grant to take care of the festival marketplace and the farmers market area back behind the old bank once it becomes a police department.
Really be nice if we could include in that, buying one of those buildings where we could get off of Main Street and go through to that area.
Can certainly ask her about that, but it's interesting meeting with her, and I'll look forward to working with her on a larger grant of that scale. It'll be definitely a learning experience, and any information or ideas that you have regarding, such as yours, Dr. Wallace, are certainly welcome. If you've got something you'd like to see included, just send me an email or a message, and I'll certainly work on that.
So you will have some information next month about the music.
Yes, sir. I had a couple of pictures today. I just didn't think it was enough. I want to show both artists that we've got. Narazi has provided some renditions on the Dillon letters. Glenn and I wanted to make a couple of corrections or some changes on those and put a little more color to it. But his is $7,800 to $10,000. Tommy Simpson is the artist that has done the train mural in Conway. And we're looking at possibly 3 different murals with him. They're a little more intricate and detail-oriented. So his mother was in the hospital Friday and he couldn't come in today. So he apologized that we didn't have the information that you requested.
And we're also looking at, instead of actually painting on a wall, is more on panels and then attaching the panels to the wall.
I just don't think that's gonna take off as far as just a mural enhancing your uptown and stuff. I think, you know, in the location you just spoke about, is there any other locations that you're looking at?
There are. One would be on the Family Dollar side of the building that people can see when they're coming on the train. That's the main one that Tommy would be working on. It would be, has anybody seen the one in Conway with the train? It's an older style version of a train. We're thinking about putting that one on that particular wall. There's a wall right on 301. There's 2 locations there actually. That would be good walls to put them on. A lot of the buildings, though, unfortunately, need a lot of work done on them. So the cost could be a lot more if we do the corrections on the walls instead of doing the panels. So we are going more towards panels that can be removed and relocated to certain areas if we wanted to. But we've got, and then Steve Johnson's building would be a nice place to put one as well. And then maybe Dr. Wallace or Todd Davis, building would be a nice location also, just depending on if someone's going to come in and buy or rent it, how they felt about that.
Have we ever thought about reaching out to the art programs in the schools and see if we can get the kids involved and maybe they might want to paint
Well,
to enhance the uptown or something of that nature?
Well, the DCA is working on some improvements with painting also, more in the alleyways in the back of the buildings. There is an artist that has just done a mural in Nichols that we're starting to communicate with as well. That would be more of a community project. They would come out and draw the actual mural, and then the community would come in and paint kind of by numbers to be more of a community project. And children can certainly be involved in that.
And I just saw the one in Nichols. I went through Saturday, and it did very much stand out. And
Very nice.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
I wondered, I was
Well, I
trying to
didn't
catch the name, but I was driving.
I got a call from him today, actually. He's just gotten done. He's worked with the City Center Market in Florence, did a mural for them with my husband that works there. And then I did go visit with the one in Nichols when they were painting that, and they like the idea about doing the community project. It's just a matter of finding all the locations.
Right, because I think the city, I'm not just speaking for myself, I hope that the council would buy into this too. We could buy the paint and the brushes, just so we could, get something started.
Well, there's
Get the
one-
community involved.
There's one on the pawn shop on South First Avenue, on the side of the building on South First Avenue. Years ago, I believe it was art students at the high school who did that, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's listed on there. That's right, I remember.
And there used to be that one on 301 there at Main Street.
Yeah.
That's one that we would like to use. But once again, a lot of these buildings are old, and the repairs to get them suitable for a mural is a challenge. So the idea that Glenn was talking about with the panels, kind of like what the old bank has on it, where the police department's going to be, those are panels. And they can be removed or repaired or replaced. And it keeps the cost down and having to make the construction on the walls happen.
All right, citizens report. Anybody want to talk? That's going twice. All right. Old business, none. New business, ordinance 22-05, the 2022-2023 municipal budget, adopting that budget. Now, we do that before we adopt the sanitation rates?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I missed the last workshop meeting. What are the bullet points that we're going to put the cost back on the citizens, just the sanitation rates?
Yes, yes. 10% increase.
10%?
And that was, that's the general fund, that's correct.
Can I get a motion?
Make a motion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, ordinance number 22-06, sanitation rates for 22-23.
This is the one where we're increasing 10%, and in this ordinance, the attachment shows the new rates for dumpsters, sizes, pick up a week, roll cart, for residential, commercial, base cost for larger containers and so forth.
I saw it on the agenda. Can you just basically say what the up cost is gonna be from now to what it's going to?
It'll cost right now is $27.07,
Okay.
and it will go to $29.75. And the reasoning, one, with fuel costs, that's something we had to do. We couldn't go up on millage rates because supposedly there's going to be a reassessment this year, so you can't go up on millage. But also, is my understanding, and the county's going up on what we take them upwards to 15 to 20%. So,
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, ordinance 22-07, adopting the budget for the American Rescue Plan funds. And I think this is in our supplement sheet.
yeah, this is, if you remember, 2-3 months ago, I brought you some recommendations how we could use the American Rescue Plan. And by state statute, if we spend this money, we've got to budget for this money. Doesn't mean we have to spend it in this budget year, but if we decide to do something, and I'll use the first one, the police department renovations. That, I'm putting $300,000 because that's what I recommended 2 or 3 months ago. If you want to change that number, we can change it when it comes about to change it, but we've got to pass a budget to say that we may or may not.
This is not rock solid.
No.
We just need to have
Yes.
some commitment.
Yes,
to-
and then you can make
Some
adjustments as we
target
see fit, that's correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, purchase of property.
Okay, this is, if you remember, either in 17 or 18, we demolished the building there at the corner of Hampton Street and MacArthur Avenue. I think it was Johnny Bethay's old liquor store, if I remember correctly. It cost the city to do that around $39,000. He never paid us. We put a lien on his taxes, property taxes. In 18, it must have been in 18, so in 2019, he did not pay his property taxes. 2020, he didn't
On
pay.
that property?
On that
or any-
property.
oh,
On that property.
Yeah.
He didn't pay his taxes. So in 2020, or 2019, that property went for public sale. Nobody purchased it because one had a tax lien of $39,000 on it, along with the taxes, which taxes didn't amount to much, which came to a total of about $40,000. And then in 20, no one purchased it then for that sale, so then it was turned over to the Dillon County Forfeit Land Commission. And that commission can sell that property for whatever amount they want to sell it for, just to get back the property tax that's owed on it. So far, no one has purchased it. I think it would be a good idea if the city bought it for, how much did I tell you, 40,000?
Cost us $1,000.
We write the check to the county, they in turn write us a check back for the lien we put on it, so, we get our $39,000 back that we paying in $40,000, but we're still $39,000 in the hole because, we paid the contract, but at least we have the property. Don't know that we could ever sell it for $39,000, at least we have the property.
Yeah, we have that money already.
Yes. So that was the idea here. The bid for the amount is $40,223.80. If you're interested in doing that.
And where you gonna get the money from?
Well,
It's gonna cost us $1,000.
we gotta pay the $40,000.
Yeah.
We'll find it somewhere, either in general fund, because we won't get reimbursed, so we'll be out $1,000 at the end of the day.
So they're gonna give us the money we got in the building, right?
Pardon?
They're gonna give us the money we got in the building after
Right.
that.
Yeah, but we're still, you know, in the hole of 39,000.
But we've already paid that through the budget years ago, you know, in the demolition. You know, it'd be good is if we could sell that, put that money back into our demolition fund, you know. Anyway, can I get a motion?
For
Second.
$40,223.80.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, removal of the center planters on Main Street. Now, we walked the street, you know, and I'm probably the worst one on this. Why don't we just do, and this would be easier on Bert's team, why don't we do one at a time? Just do one at a time, see how we like it, look at it. I know we're on a little bit of a schedule because we've got to decide what we're gonna do, whether we're gonna go to, you know, from 4-lane to 3-lane, if we're gonna move those turns, and move the angle of the parking and all that. But if we did one at a time, it wouldn't be as cumbersome on Bert, and then we could kind of, you know, get a little taste of what we're doing, as opposed to going and taking them all out and go, oh, I wish we hadn't done that. Any ideas on that?
Well, I'll give you how I feel about it. I like them to be all gone, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think personally, I don't think it would take Bert that long to take the center planters out. He took the middle planer on the road, he had it up in no time. I mean, you just got the new small excavator, whatever, so.
It's probably about a week process when you take it out and repave it and do all that. And we still gotta, that's another thing we gotta consider also, we get, the other end's gotta be repaved, and that's gonna be at our expense.
But I really think, you know,
So each block you do, you'll have to repave that block, and I think, you know, it's gonna be around 70 grand to repave it.
but I'm just from the old school type thing. I like the planters gone. I like the widening of the roads. I like it back in the old days. That's just my perspective on it, but I can live with you taking the center planters out. Anybody else have any discussion? We're up here to talk about it. That's what you're asking me about.
Right. I went downtown, you know, Florence did their downtown, you know, renovation, and I never was down there when it wasn't renovated, so I don't know what it looked like before.
That's right.
But, I mean, and it's nice. I was going to Victor's, and, you know, I was talking about the signage. You know, we have all these issues about the signage. And, you know, I Google mapped it and everything, and I knew about where it was. I finally had to ask somebody, where was it? And it was like 2 stores down, or 2 buildings down, but from the sidewalk, you couldn't find it. If you didn't know where you were going, you could not find it. And when you got right in front of it, you could see their sign, but having those signs, and I thought that maybe that might be one thing the city could do to give us a unified, you know, something that every building has, a sign that drops down so that when you're walking down the street, you see those signs. It gives some uniformity in our signage. And this would be what you would see walking down the road. This isn't going to be in your car and those things. But you got to remember, when you're in your car driving, especially by yourself, you know, you got to drive. You can't. It'll be a little bit easier with the, you know, with there. It's a very tight 2-lane.
Yeah.
And we're going to be in a much better place, regardless of how we go.
Bert,
Sir,
how many parking spaces with that thing, with them planters out, how many would it make?
How much would one planter
Well, if
give?
you remove the 2 in the middle on each side, you're probably gonna gain 4 spots.
2 in the middle on each side. On
I
each side.
actually did a count, to be exact. Each planter completely, if you took it out, you would have one safer parking space, and you would have one parking space new, so you're looking at 20 new parking spaces.
But it'd be four, each spot, each planter would be one parking spot.
Right.
So it'd be 4 per block.
But,
2 on each side.
and there's one space that's actually hindering safe parking because it's, the way that it's shaped, it would open up a safer parking area by taking them out too.
When we walked, there was a few of the downtown merchants that walked with us, and most of them, I felt like wanted them gone. Some of the ones maybe that weren't there that you talked to and you're familiar with, what is their feeling on it? Do they want them gone, or?
Yeah, they
are
want the center ones gone, yes. But, you know, saving the trees would be great, especially on the end caps, but everybody seems to be in conclusion that the ones in the center would be fine to leave, to be removed.
But I think if we take the center ones out, we need to re-landscape the corners. So we probably have to do that anyway. It needs to be
Well-
re-landscaped, and it would limit Burke's scope in having fewer planters to begin with. And I think, as far as she was saying, the merchants, they've called me endless about removing the centers. And I'm willing to compromise, because I'm kind of like Johnny. I'd rather see them all go. But I'll compromise and leave the corners.
Well, I want to go back to the signage that you just mentioned, Dr. Watts. We had spoke about, since we've incorporated all these buildings now in the citywide and using the facade grant, and we only got $24,000 that we budget each year for, correct? You know, we normally lose $20,000 each year. And I think that's a good point that you're making, that we can enhance our uptown with the facade grants and getting the signage.
Well, it'd just be something that
Well,
the city could do
right.
for each individual
But I think we
place.
might have to go a little bit further. I mean, to get these buildings to where we're trying to help the business owners, sometimes, you know, the 75% don't entice them to want to do it, you know? And if we're going to do our part, I think sometimes you just have to help them say, look, we're going to get you a sign for your building. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Anything's
But
possible.
you got to do it.
I don't want to cut you off, but y'all are not talking about parking spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I want to make sure that it was in the topic of discussion.
All right, well, that, Burke, water lines and that type of stuff, what's going to be the holdback on it? Are they,
Some of them, the main lines for like the other side is tapped in from the planter, but it would be basically like every other water line in town.
It'd be
It's
gravel
under a
road.
paved road. I mean, we just have, if we need to go back to it, we just cut back to it.
All right, so.
I would suggest doing one block at a time. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Just
y'all.
see how it looks.
Yeah.
Just-
Well, the ones that probably are the most busy is Ritz.
Like I say, you gotta realize, we gotta pave each one of these blocks.
Yeah. That's
And-
it.
and-
And DOT's going to help you with that too.
Well,
Well,
hopefully,
we're hoping so.
if they resurface, because once we have to get a permit from DOT. And once that permit is signed, we have a year to complete the job. So let's just, for all intents and purposes, say we started July 1st, that's when the permit was dated. We have until July 1st of next year. You know, we're thinking, and the state says it's possible, doesn't mean that's gonna happen, but we're thinking that they're gonna resurface that portion of Main Street next year, but they may not. And then they'll come back to us and say, you know, you've got to do this portion, and it'll be on our dime. So I
Wouldn't
mean,
Mitchell know what they're going to do? Wouldn't he have?
I mean, they just know that it's scheduled for 2023, doesn't mean it's gonna be done.
You know, the cost of those roads, petroleum at $120 a barrel is
I mean, they,
double.
it's scheduled, but doesn't mean that it'll be done.
But we can do whatever y'all want to do.
But I want to know what the other council members think about it. I mean, y'all heard what I had to say. Dr. Wallace said what he had to say. Douglas, what are you thinking?
well, I didn't like it when we first done it, tell you the truth. But at the same time, it's done. Now we're going to take money and tear up something we've already put money in, so that's kind of hard for me to do. But at the same time, if the merchants feel like they want it gone, and the merchants I've talked to, which the only ones I've talked to were the ones we walked down there that night with, and they did, and if Lisa's telling us that the rest of them do, then I think we ought to try to help them out. If they feel like it's gonna help get their business more, I'm fine with taking out the center.
Well, it's not only just the business parking, it's also the visibility of their storefronts as well. So there's two reasons why they're interested in that center planters being removed.
Tell me what you think.
Take them out. Because we've been talking about it for 2 months.
No, we have, that's what I'm saying, I'm like Dr. Walter, trying to kick the can down the road, let's make it a done deal.
Does somebody have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we take the center planters out,
I said,
All the way down?
all the way down.
Says y'all.
Is that what you
Well,
said?
each block's a little bit different now. Let's think about it before we,
I think they all need to go. I don't think we need to mess around with it if we're gonna do it.
just like what about where the vacant lot is? There's some along there too. There's no buildings behind those, so you want to take those out too?
Where are you talking about?
Like King's Pizza area where the vacant lot is?
I think if they're blocking the visibility of a building, and we'll worry about them, let them be the last ones, how about that? The ones that aren't blocking the visibility of a building. Does that make sense? I mean, because I can see why would you want to take that one out? Nobody needs that parking anyway, right now.
Because he's gonna take the one off straight across the road from that one, you're gonna leave one on that side, and it's gonna look kind of weird. If you take it off on Steve's side, then you go across the road, you go leave that one. It's not gonna be anything there to match it.
Y'all
Well, help me understand one more thing before we take this thing to a vote. How many center planters are we looking to take out?
20, I think somewhere in that ballpark.
So you're talking about 4 blocks?
You
talking
mean
about
from
going from post all the way back to the courthouse?
Oh,
up to the courthouse?
9 blocks.
The courthouse is already removed, so
To Martin Luther King,
across the road.
yeah, back to Post Furniture.
And you say that it's gonna be about 70,000 a block to pave that?
Well, I'm getting a quote done now for the other end. It's gonna be right at 70,000. It's
A block. So we're talking about almost $500,000 in asphalt. Just, y'all wanna spend that money, y'all go tear the damn thing down.
Yeah, we don't need to do the other end right now because we just had it paved.
Say that again?
On the other end, we just took the center one out and had it paved, last year. So
If you take those planters out, you're gonna make us resurface it again. That would be between 301 and 4th Avenue? Yeah.
No, a DOT's gonna do a resurfacing project. How does that play into it? They gonna go over it again, Bert?
Well, they will.
they'll mill it down when they pave.
So they just
No
gonna tear out.
guarantee what time frame they're gonna pave. It may be 2 or 3 years. But, our permit, it's gotta be done. He calls me every week and won't know when we're gonna repave the one we just did.
For a year, we can get away with fixing what we took out. But they will make us, in that year's time, resurface the whole road so it will be uniform. Just like we had to do when we took the center planter out on the east side of 301. We did the patchwork in the center, then we had to resurface that whole block.
What I would suggest is we try to make some contacts with who knows when this is really gonna be paved. Then if we wanna take them out, that's when we go to work.
Before they pay.
That's what I would do.
Well, based on what you're saying, if you've already got to resurface that one block there at King's, if you take the ones there, the rest of them out, would that increase any cost?
No, that wouldn't, just
So you mean if you take one little small planter out, they gonna make you repave the whole road?
the whole road.
Because they want it uniform.
Even though it looks even with the rest of the road?
That's what part of the permit, that's, to get the permit, that's what they require you to do.
I would suggest that we look at one block, experience the cost, experience what it does aesthetically to the area, and not, obligate ourselves to $500,000 in resurface.
But the only problem with that is if you don't do it within the 1 year timeline, you still gonna have to resurface that whole block. And that's gonna be hundreds of thousands of dollars right there.
If they don't resurface
Right,
it.
if they don't
before we
resurface.
do it.
So if they tell us they're gonna resurface all this road, could you do it then?
See,
Well, if
that's
we
what I
have
was,
enough-
that's
if we
what I
have
said.
enough time to understand when they're gonna do it, you know.
So you're saying we can agree to it, but then wait till they do their resurfacing?
No, we want to do it prior to their resurface.
So that's what I'm saying, but right, kind of the same time.
Well, I mean, we'd like to do it at least a month ahead.
Well, if
Okay.
you wanted to do it one block at a time, you already got, one block you already started on that you already got to resurface.
But I don't understand why we want to resurface and spend that money when we can wait.
That's what I was saying, you know, we wait, find out when they're gonna do it, then we get to work
I
and
think we need to do that.
take them out.
So what, we need to table this until we get a little more
We need
information?
to wait till
I
he
think-
finds out exactly
Can
when
I
they're
ask,
gonna do it.
can I ask this? Is it possible that you can reach out to DOT and ask them when the projected time is to get Uptown repaved? And then we'll have something to go about it.
And we
But can
kinda
we
know
vote
it's
on
within a year
the
or two.
aspect of it coming out due to the fact that that's gonna be looked at or not?
Now, you can vote on anything you like, I mean,
Right, but then are we gonna be held accountable because
No,
we voted on it? I would like to table it until we get some more information. And, I mean, because we can vote on it now, if they tell us 18 months from now, or we can come back and vote in 3 months. I mean, I think council in general probably won't want them taken out. Council in general does not want to obligate ourselves to spend $500,000 to take them out. I don't, I'm not going to obligate ourselves to that kind of money.
Well, what if you vote to only take them out if they're gonna resurface?
There's no urgency to take them out if we aren't gonna start work on it. That's my only
You
concern.
can take the ones out on the other end if y'all want to, I mean, we already got paid that anyway.
Yeah.
And that's strictly left up to y'all if you wanna get
When
one
you
block.
say the other
Well, why don't we take them out and see what it looks like, and then it'll give us a
We'll
better.
take them out, we'll see what it looks like, because it's already got to be resurfaced, then we have a gauge on what we got.
That's,
Yeah, go ahead,
that's
take
between,
two
that's
cents, take
between the
center
railroad track and 301.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that, since we've already
Make a
obligated
motion
ourselves to
then.
spend
I'll
that.
make
You're
a
not taking
motion.
the end ones out,
No.
correct?
No, just
No,
the
no,
center.
ends.
So you need
You're not
to make a
taking the
motion.
trees out in the
Jay made a
sidewalk.
Look,
motion.
can we clean them ends up, though? Can we make them where they
We
look
can.
nice and pretty again?
We can,
Okay, so we need to amend the motion.
Amend the
Center
motion.
places between the railroad track and 301.
Correct.
Well, let's
That's
make
the
it- let's-
motion.
MacArthur.
Let's specify more here.
MacArthur and 301.
I want the center planters come out, because we've got to resurface it anyway.
All
I
right,
make a motion.
second.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye. And I reckon we really probably did not, did we ever have a motion on the initial one?
I don't remember.
There was a motion and a second, and then there was discussion,
So we
and,
need to table that motion.
yeah, table it, I
Yeah,
guess.
table.
We have to rescind that motion.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, who made the motion?
Well, you actually
You
said
made
y'all
the
were
motion.
amending
I made
the
the
motion, so
That-
since you said
that in essence did
amended,
it.
that takes care of
Okay,
it.
all right,
The motion was amended.
all right, thanks.
give me a little bit of time on that.
Huh?
Give me a little bit of time on that.
All right,
But in the meantime, try to find out when they are going to resurface
Oh,
it.
yeah.
all right. Property purchase.
All right, this
This is a
is,
second.
yeah, this is the one we just added prior to the meeting to the agenda. We received a CDBG grant to do upgrades on a lift station at the corner of 18th and Dargan Street. And being that that lift station is actually on state right-of-way, to use funds from CDBG, it has to be on our property. So there's vacant land beside the existing pump station that we're gonna rehab. We're just gonna move it onto that property. It's in the Kennan estate.
I think that's right. We've been dealing with Sammy Kennan. I think it's still in the Kennan estate.
When Jack McInnes was the attorney a year or so ago, we reached out to them to see if they'd be willing to sell it. They said they would for $5,000, and it's, I don't know, maybe 75 feet by 150 feet. It's wooded land, pretty much. So, but it's been a year that we have to go through certain steps. We finally had to get it appraised. It appraised at $5,000. The county and the state agreed to that appraisal because that's what they're asked for. So to go forward with this CDBG grant, we now have to purchase that property to do this.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. That's it on the new business, council member report. Johnny?
Okay. Like I said earlier before we started the meeting, I wanted to amend the agenda. Mr. Buck Graham received a call from him. He said he no longer can serve on the planning commission, and I have an appointment. His name is Jeffrey Nichols. He's got his little owning business, and I reached out to him, and he said he'd be glad to serve, and I have to bring it to y'all for y'all's approval. So I want to make a motion. If I can get a second and forward to another board motion.
This is planning and zoning?
Planning and zoning, yes.
Okay.
I make a motion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
And Mr. Buck served on there for a long time.
He's
Doug
got
did a good
very
job.
sick, and I think his health.
Yeah, he's,
I wanted to find out what the update is on the splash pad.
I have it, it's been ordered, just waiting on it to come and start work.
Okay. I've said in the last couple of months with the hospitality money, and we just found out we got over $900,000. And I know last meeting that Dr. Wallace said we kind of roughly need to put a reserve of $500,000 in there. So we roughly got $400,000 to play with. And I would like to know, I think we made some suggestions that putting a padding inside the wellness center for the walking track. Did you ever look into getting the bids?
Yeah, just hadn't gotten anything back yet.
Okay. Any other things as far as the upgrades to the machinery? Can you elaborate on anything? We need anything in there? Same stuff.
The last time we looked at it, we were looking at about 125, 130,000. That was right prior to COVID on that particular
they
equipment.
have a, Jess was on some committee.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's when that we did that.
Yeah.
They came back and
Gave
gave
us
us
some
about
suggestions.
130,000 on that equipment,
My
yeah.
comment is that we probably need 20% in there of our assets, and, I mean, it wasn't 500,000, and I'm a little concerned about dropping that number down to 500,000. I think, having ongoing, knowing that we're gonna have, money coming in that's a little more than what we thought we had. I don't wanna, target 400,000, let's go spend it. But we could be a little bit more lenient with our funds there, because we've got, we got more money coming in. We're gonna have about 50,000 more this year than we had last year. And I just think that's gonna grow.
Yeah, but I was just throwing that number out there, just.
And also remember, we're gonna start replacing the air units out there.
Yeah.
I don't have any cost estimate yet. I got one that is out. And I think there's like 15 units that do that whole building. But we do have one large one in the gymnasium that we've got to replace. And those things are 20 years old, so we know we're gonna start running into trouble. Don't know what those costs are.
My last thing I have is that I mentioned 2 months ago, we had an outcry in the community with, we have a lot of crime in the area. We have children killing children. And I would like to see it, I hadn't seen it since I've been on council, is I would like to see the manager to reach out to the county council. And we as leaders, get with the community activists that we have are trying to do something out here, and see what we can do to help these young kids find something they can do, instead of staying at home thinking how they can take somebody's property or kill somebody else for it. And I believe we got good leaders up here. I think there's good leaders in the county. I think the city manager's great at doing that. We have to do our part. And I just would like to see us meet together. We hadn't met since I've been here in 13 years. And I'm reaching out, I'm asking.
Yeah, and all we can do is see if they'll do it.
Participation in like Kiwanis is way down.
And all civic groups.
Yeah.
But no, I think we do need to meet.
Talk
with the
about
county.
youth
Yeah.
participation, yeah.
But I do think we need to meet with the county, and I'll put it out there and see.
Well, the government's kind of made churches, not important, and churches used to do this. And, I mean,
I do believe if, you know, law enforcement only can do so much, we have, as a community only can do so much. But I also think that if the judicial system does much more, that may open some eyes. You know, you're not gonna solve all, I mean, you're not gonna stop it, but I think if there's more punishment or harder punishment, some of these kids will think
And with
differently.
that said, I would just like to see the community more active with our police officers. You know, we used to have the little hamburger thing, we go into the areas of the community and we build that, you know, bridge with each other, and they would know who I am, and I know who they were. You know, we hadn't done that in a while. So, you know, it's just something to reach out and see what we can do to get things going, to get our community together. We need to come together. And that's all I have, I guess.
Thank you, John. You know, your comment the other night about the number of murders and things prompted me to reach out. You know, I had an opportunity years ago to mentor just happened to be a young black boy that, you know, we had a great relationship. He was pretty notorious in the school system. And I talked about him in Newtown one night, you know, about that relationship. And he's smart, good-looking guy. Just, you know, he just has so many skills, but he didn't have a dad, and a dad in his life, and he just didn't have any direction. And he's in jail in New York right now. And I've talked with him three times since since you brought that up, and he's I probably met him when he was 14. He's probably 23, 24 years old now, and he's got 2 more years to serve. But so many of them just don't know how to be a man, other than, you know, what some gang tells them how to be a man. And this isn't just a black community; it's white community too. But I think that it has got to be more than just councilmen and police officers, and it's got to be people serving as dads. It is a horrible problem. When I've got 2 12-year-old grandsons. When a 13-year-old thinks it's okay to go out and shoot somebody dead, that's just awful. But I don't know how to fix that, other than you know. And when I said that night in Newtown, I said, you got to stay home and raise your boys. They need you. One afternoon, I let this fella off, and, you know, I said, hey man, I love you. And he says, whoo, Doc, that's kind of spooky. That's kind of icky. I said, what do you mean? He says, my dad has never said that to me. I said, son, that's your dad's problem. That's not your problem. That's your dad's problem. But you know, it's just not enough of that. Okay.
A couple of things I have. I've noticed some people have called me about here around the property. So seems like a lot of movement going on in there. Do you have anything you can report on that, Benny? Do you know of anything going on with the property?
No, sir.
Other than they cleaning it up, taking off metals and things like that.
They ain't cleaning up the dead on buildings.
The second thing I have is the demolition of the building. Do you know when that's going to start? Across from the council of agents, when they're going to start tearing that building down?
We haven't. And that's part of, back in the American Rescue Plan money, you know, I budgeted $230,000.
But I really think we need to get something going with that. That building is about to cave in.
You've got the paperwork yet for that one? Because what we're gonna do is, we're gonna take everything that's ready to go, we're gonna bid it out, and then go from there. But that's $230,000 I've got in that fund.
I wish we kind of I wish we'd go ahead and take that sidewalk back off again, because if you notice in the end, Benny, the roof is completely collapsed. I'm afraid that wall could come out upstairs. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
It's completely gone. Another thing I need to bring up, I got a text from a voter in my district. And he mentioned something about Harmon Park. He happened to go out there, I guess, with some of his grandchildren. And obviously there's 2 swing sets out there. And he said that of one swing set, there were 2 broken swings, one missing, and the other had no swings.
We put all new swings on there 2 months ago.
Well, someone is vandalizing the park. I mean, another thing he mentioned was he wished that we could have a dome and maybe kind of upgrade some of our playground equipment.
That's also in your American Rescue Plan under recreation projects.
Plus the water fountain, I guess a car has hit it and tilted it all the way kind of over.
On the park.
Yeah. He said it was tilted over and it's kind of dangerous, and that the person teeter-totter needs some work, and he just said that people in that area deserve better.
Absolutely. All of our parks need vast
Need attention.
upgrade. Yes.
But we could just,
You
if we
keep
could
the
look at
adults
that.
off of it, they'd
Again,
last.
Well, that's true.
We budgeted in the recreation and ARP money about $550,000 to do some recreation
My
stuff.
last and final thing I was gonna bring up is, I had a business owner to call me, and he owns a restaurant. And he asked if we could bring up again and have an ordinance in the city of Dillon for smoke-free Dillon. And he said his problem was when he goes and he tells people he doesn't have smoking in his establishment, it's an argument. And he was hoping that we would adopt that, since other communities have adopted in our area. Smoke-free Dillon smoking
Right, but
in e-cigarette,
what is he, what?
in your business, in a public place.
So if I'm not mistaken, we had this brought up several years ago,
I did it for years.
and we left it up to the business owners to decide. if
And
they-
all of them, I don't know of any business in Dillon or anywhere else that allows smoking in their business.
Inside,
Yeah, inside.
Well, they don't.
but people still.
Well, this particular one is a restaurant and a bar. And it becomes a contentious thing when you try to tell somebody that's not to smoke in a bar.
Right.
So it's really hurting his business, and he doesn't feel like, he's already told him there's no
So
smoke
instead of him
inside.
being the bad person, he wants the city to be the bad person.
He wants the city to be the bad person. Now, we have in other communities, I think Horry County's got it, Surfside, Florence. I don't know about Bensville, Marion, I think Marion or Mullins might have it. But I just think it'd be a good thing with I mean, I don't know what Dr. Wallace thinks.
No, I'm not opposed to that, I didn't understand really what.
And I think there's some grant money out there you can get if you have a smoke-free city.
But I want to go back to.
Smoke-free Florence got it.
They want the city to be the bad guy. Is that what you think?
That's what he said.
I mean,
I just thought I'd bring it before you. I mentioned it about 3 years ago.
You put them new fans in there to blow smoke out, you intentionally put them in there, for them to smoke in there.
I'm just a messenger.
The more they smoke, the more they drink, the more you make.
But I don't condone it, and I just think it'd be a good thing. It's just something we can consider. I'll finish. All right.
Then as far as that, line or something down there, only thing he doing is taking that metal out there. The fellow say he won't live right out of that building. It's all that stuff still up in there.
Well, again, I'm gonna go back to the demolition of buildings, that's one of them that we're looking at.
Real good. Be glad to hear it. And as far as the recreation, I think we need to kind of partner with the county and have the recreation be like that now. Or that, kind of rate was kind of sharp. We're gonna have to do something to try to get that back. Cause you got the AAU out there, but what they do, they get the best of the best, send the rest of them home and not do anything. So I feel like we gotta do something about that. I told them 5 years ago where we're going. Nobody done nothing. And then not doing it is. We ain't got nothing to do out there. Children on the street. I seen fellas out there 4 or 5 years old, 7, 8, 9, 10. One play ball can't play because they can't go out there. So what we gotta do is get it right.
Well, I would, and I'm gonna second what you say, Bobby, if that's gonna get these kids off the street and have them something to do, I would partner with you and the rest of this council to get something done in the county to where we can get them involved in things.
Well, our only objection to that is that, you know, we know that it's going to be probably $120,000 to run that program. And when they offer us $30,000, you know, and.
But we also wanted the property, you know, and didn't want to do that. And
What would it take to add our own programs?
Pardon?
How about our fields behind the ball field, add our own programs and go to flag?
We could do that.
Why don't we just add it?
We could.
Well, I'm not here to argue the point, but we throw a lot of money in the golf course. So why can't we give back to the children and help them to where we can get them involved?
Oh, we can. We can.
We got to
We
do
just,
something.
you know, if we add
You ever
other,
been out there and seen how many kids play out there
Where's that?
at the golf course?
Well, I'm just going by how much money we lose per year at the golf course. I mean, that was the whole main thing of us losing the money with partner with the county. But I don't know what it would generate to get these kids to come and take part, AAU or regular rec, if we lose $100,000. It don't matter to me.
Well, what if we start with a flag football program? And then maybe see how it worked out, and then maybe go up to the next level,
It wouldn't be so bad with the county.
where we are.
It wouldn't be so bad with the county if you could do something, getting them kids out there. See, right now, it ain't really the community stuff, it just ain't raining right. It ain't raining right. They ain't doing what they're supposed to do out there.
But you think if we got with the county and we could all come around the table, we could get some things solved? I don't know. You tell me.
It should be,
Might be a
so it ain't the money, it just ain't doing nothing. And our kids are paying $35 to go out there and play, and what we did.
Will they help
3
us
years
with our
ago-
program if we did one separate?
3 years ago, all we done, went around,
Find out.
like Johnson's and Jabs and all that stuff, and get $100 paint sign on your fence, on the fence out there with their company on it. That $100 pays three players. I want $35.
You're not gonna make any money in it.
oh no, we don't
No,
make,
you don't make any money. It's just getting people involved, getting these kids, getting, like you said, the parents. What the
That's
kids
the
play.
key, is the parents.
It is.
The parenting
Well,
is
maybe they don't have the
the key.
$35 though.
What it is, what a
I
lot
don't know what
of
it
it
is.
is. What a lot of it is,
That-
I tell you what a lot of it is. A lot of it is, just, like Dog Watts said, the dad ain't there.
oh, it's.
Then the mom and dad, so we end up having to take them home.
And we see
It's a lot
that
on those coaches.
throughout, and recreation trends have dropped. I mean, the older the kids get, the less interest they have, the less interest that the parents have. We've seen that over the years. But there's something we can look at and discuss.
But I'm not opposed to sitting down with the county. No, not at all, I just,
Especially on that.
I understand you.
But I think if we do, we need to have some sort of agenda.
But you-
Y'all come up with,
This is
you
the
and, right, this is what, because otherwise we could be
Yeah,
there
you don't,
5 hours and not get anything accomplished. But,
That's correct.
that's correct.
That's all I got.
But I'll touch on a little bit of what we've been discussing with the kids. This is from someone that at 20 years old, I started coaching my first youth football team when I was 20 years old. So I was coaching 11 and 12-year-old kids when I was 20 years old. I'm 56 now, so that's 36 years. The kids today, the kids back then had parents that made sure they were at practice, made sure that they had what they needed to have when they attended practice, picked them up. Over the years, it has deteriorated bad. The kids show up with nothing, they show up with no cleats, they don't have the money to sign up supposedly, and it's not only with the recreation, it's with the school systems too. The kids that are out here probably, if you could pull their school records or whatever, you would find out that the person getting the shot and the person that's doing the shooting probably were in and out of that office their entire school years. And the parents would show up and probably defend the student instead of back to school system. So that's what we're running into, is the kids, all kids are gonna do what they can do. But it's what the parents allow them for the most part is what's failing right now. And how do we get to the parents? I have no idea. But, I mean, something's got to be done in society. It ain't up to us. I mean, but we've got to do something because it's sad. So, but at the same time, like, we'll go back to what Bobby was saying. They don't have the $35 to sign the kids up, but the kids will stand out there in $180 to $300 Air Jordans.
And have a cell
So,
phone.
but you ain't got $35 to sign up, but you can find a way to go and get a $300 pair of Air Jordans. So, I mean, they find the money for what they want to find the money for.
And we, from a city standpoint, in all the years we've done recreation for 30-plus years, we've never turned anybody away. Now, that doesn't mean that people didn't sign because they didn't have money, because they didn't want to come ask, but if anybody ever came to the yard, I can't afford that.
Right.
We've never turned anybody away, because again, we're not there to make money. But you know, I have found if you offer something free, people don't like to attend, but if they got something invested, they're more apt to it.
Anyway, that's all I've got. I'm sorry.
Billy, do we have anything on that J.B. Martin project yet?
No, sir, I don't have anything.
They should hear something by the end of this month. They were waiting on funding from the state, and that should be announced sometime the end of this month.
Anything else?
I do have one thing, and Benny got me when I was talking, and I forgot to say it. On the Board of Architectural Review, he needs to add a member there. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, sir. We have one slot that's missing. Stacy Jackson on the Board of Architectural Review, which is a residential builder. Ben Hayes had contacted me. He's also a residential builder, a general contractor, and he would like to serve on the Board of Architectural Review.
To replace Stacy?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah.
I make a motion.
Second. Oh, second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to go into executive session for legal opinions? Thank y'all.
Oh, let me sit down for a little bit.